Sirach chapter 6, verse 32. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. Call Alam La Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai Wahaba Kachodash. The honest of the hopefully look elder apostles. Slave to be saved, Lord willing to be those at the Great Millstone Church, to the brothers here at this congregation in the order. Shalom to the rest of the brothers, my brothers, you Akim, you Elder Akim, okay, teaching this truth, and on down to you younger Akim, you younger brothers teaching this truth in all true faith and sincerity. Shalom to the rest of you believers, you men, women, and children, and on this faith of this light race. Shalom, and to the rest of, ultimately to the elect, those that are about to go on to be found to have been in the house of David. So yeah. Don't be a parrot, Don't just parrot. Come to learn what you're parroting. Go on and learn what you're parroting. Don't just parrot. Go on and learn what you're parroting. And that's pretty much in response to things I just be noticing by the spirit. That brothers do, Akim do. We all probably have a time or had a time of doing. You don't want to just parrot and never come to the understanding, of what you're parroting. Like you parrot it probably because it's right, and it's somebody that's probably learned, but you never go on to, so you just say it and that make you right. But that's real shallow because you don't really have the understanding, the fullness of who you're parroting. You know what I'm saying? Like the fullness of the power that of the words, that you're parroting, of the words spoken and that you're parroting. You don't have the full power, man. The true power. Because if it came down to explaining it or breaking it down or why this is correct, you just saying that you couldn't bust a grape. You don't want to be in that situation. You know what I'm saying? So you have to eventually go on and understand, come to learn what you're parroting. Okay, let me read this scripture. Sirach 6 and 32. My son, if thou wilt, because in this truth you got spiritual fathers. All right, it says, my son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. Right, if you want to learn, you could be taught. If you're willing, if you're going to take the disposition on to become one that's learning, or one that will go on to be learned up, you will be taught. It says, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent, because you're being taught obviously by one that's prudent. You know what I'm saying? Someone that knows, they say knowledge is power in the world. Someone that knows what's going on, most of the time the reason why they know what's going on is because they have care for their future, which could simply be seen in them caring about their reputation, how they seen. You don't want to be a person who is obviously subject to moments happening, all the time. Like 2 minutes from you listening to this, you can get in a conversation. You're subject to things like that. Second like that. A second from now, and like I said, most of the time these people that become knowledgeable is really because they're prudent, which is simply they fear being looked at like a dummy. In upcoming situations they know they can find themselves in. You know what I'm saying? And so they will go on and learn. They will become knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? And you got knowledge of different sorts for different reasons. You probably get in a situation where you got to heal yourself or something like that. So once again, prudence is really going into knowledge. Being as well. So when you're knowledgeable, you're being prudent. So if you're gonna be taught, it's gonna be by someone who also is prudent, who has knowledge. Someone can't teach you that don't know anything. So that person is prudent. Because before they taught you, they didn't even teach you. They probably was in the case of learning it, of learning these things. They were going to teach you, you know, and that's future tense. So that's how you know that person is prudent. That person was prudent. So that's who you are to be taught by. It says, so if thou will apply thy mind, right, thou shalt be prudent. So if you apply your mind, you're gonna be prudent. Not just you being taught by this person and you just parroting what they say. You gotta apply to your mind like they applied their mind. Coming to learn why this is correct, why they say what they say. You hear that's right, that's correct, that makes sense. But how much more if you can get the layers of this knowledge you perceive to be true, you know what I'm saying? Just like it's basically like zeal. You don't want to be a Jake. You don't want to be like these Jakes that got the zeal, but it's not according to knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty much what that is. You got the knowledge of one you're parroting. You know what I'm saying? But you don't understand. So that's kind of like, it's basically kind of like the same thing. So it says once again, and if thou will apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. So you got to put the work in. You got to come. Don't just parrot. Come into knowing. Go on to learn what you're parroting. Understand what you're parroting. Why it's correct. Why a brother say what he says. Elder brother. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It says, if thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, and if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. I'll read it again. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. So yeah, just by you simply being willing to hear, liking to hear, pleasant words, powerful words, you know what I'm saying? Through that, you could probably get understanding if you love to hear. If you love to hear, it says, and if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Yeah, because you have to, some of the things, basically in order, like somebody instructing you, if you don't giving you instruction to do something that's probably going to help benefit you, if you're not humble enough to, humble yourself to that instruction and go on to do that, like, you know what, this is going to help me. You're not going to be wise. You're not going to result in being a wise person. So ultimately, to result in a wise person, it take a part of that. You have a part of that going on, being the case for you is you bowing your ear, humbling yourself. You see what I'm saying? And if you love to hear, you're gonna receive understanding, man. Because basically you supposed to take this. My point of bringing these scriptures out, go learn from these men. You know what I'm saying? Don't just parrot somebody. Like, if you can't ask them directly, you need to study and see, okay, why they say what they say, or try to, don't just parrot. Like, actually sit and think on these things. You know what I'm saying? You should ask them first and foremost. And then you'll be instructed on why. Then you'll get the understanding. But you gotta love to hear. Don't just parrot. You gotta love to hear. Be willing to go hear why why a brother may say what he say, you know what I'm saying, or whoever, right? It says, that's how we all should be. It says, if thou love, just like in verse 34, stand in the multitude of the elders. You see, in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. So there it is. That's who you're probably parroting. You're probably parroting somebody over you, elder brother, elder apostle. You know what I'm saying? It says, and cleave unto him that is wise. Yeah, it tells us that in the book of Deuteronomy 32nd chapter. Ask thy fathers, and they shall teach thee. Right? Job, the 8th chapter, tells us that. You know what I'm saying? It says, cleave unto him that is wise. Because if you cleave unto somebody that's wise, that's somebody that they went through the same process to become wise, which is bowing their ear first and loving to hear so they can understand. That's a person that loves to hear, and that's why they're layered. They're not just a parrot. Like, we all say the same things, but the men who really count is the ones who know the ins and out of what we say. because it's one doctrine, it's one spirit. But so you need to get to that point. Okay, don't just parrot. You know, you sound just like a brother, and you never even, you know. And then it's gonna sound shallow because you could tell one that people that's really listening, or a brother that may know the ins and out, they're gonna be able to tell you don't really understand what you're saying. You get everything right, but you can see it's not, you know, it's shallow, it's hollow. Ain't no real depth there. You just saying what's right. You know, it's like a child. But anyway, so stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise, because he went through the same process and he'll be able to give you that process, right? Be willing to, on how to get to that point, be willing to hear every godly discourse, you see, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. So yeah, you'll hear a wise parable from men that's very parabolic in their speech. You know, they pretty much similar to Yahushua, you know, which makes sense. And you just let it sound good, you'll probably just try to mimic it or something like that, but you don't really understand, you know, the parable, or, you know, really don't even understand how they even coming from this place, really. You know, it just sound cool. So you don't want to be like that. It says, be willing to hear every godly discourse and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. You know, you got to be willing to hear every godly discourse. What makes you say this? Why did you know what I'm saying? That's how you want to be. You really want to be a sponge, so you can have depth, you can have layer, because people gonna come pick you apart, man. You know what I'm saying? Satan gonna come pick you apart. He know if you just quote and parrot, and you know, and you easily, you know, just like some hollow, you easy to push over, man. You know, he know you ain't got no substance there. You don't really got the core of why this is right. You just saying it because, you know, this is the, you know, most refreshing, or, you know, most right thing you've heard. You know what I'm saying? But you don't really, you never went through that you got to get past that point. It's dangerous. You know, it's not really becoming being like that. And if thou seest a man, verse 36, of understanding, you see, get thee be times unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Yeah, when you got the opportunity, everything is in season. You don't just, you know, blow a brother up, or, you know, go beat on a brother's house, or you when you be professional, because remember, this is a profession, but this should be top priority for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, how do you know what I'm saying, man, bro, how you do it, go into this and go into that? That's how you supposed to be. You want to be a sponge, pick brothers' brains. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we all bring the scriptures out and probably get it right by the Spirit, but it's good when you see somebody that really understand what they talking about. You know, that allows you, you know, just as a brother, you know, opportunity for you to get on that level, because you can go ask, but you have to be willing to bow your ear. You have to be, so you could be instructed on how to get to that point, and you have to be willing to hear every godly discourse. And you got to accept and know when the parables of understanding are escaping thee. And you got to love to hear. Because if you love to hear, you're going to get understanding. You know what I'm saying? So, because they're going to tell you, they're going to give it to you. But are you willing to sit and get the, you know, get the understanding? Or would you rather just be a copy-paste nigga, you know? You see the difference between, you know, copy and pasting and actually writing a paper, you know, doing a report on something. You actually learn, you know, you probably get the same grade, but in a copy and paste, you ain't learn nothing. You ain't really learn nothing. You actually writing a paper, going through it, you know, you actually learned something. You learn the depths, you know all about this particular era of history, you know, and you can actually teach that to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Period. And you know how to put the information together, which is how you got the A, versus somebody who copied and pasted somebody else's pretty much understanding on, you know, that, to where you just got the A, but you don't know nothing, man. You ain't no depth there, okay? So it says, let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord. See? And meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thy heart and give thee wisdom at thy own desire. So what do you desire? To be a parrot, or, you know, because you're going to have that point. It's a process. You know, you're just going to parrot. No, you should go on you should, don't just parrot. Go on to understand what you're parroting, you know. So call I'm like how about me out shot shalom.